What you are about to hear is the log of a security guard from the Cedar Hill Mall, December 2023. The official report was never filed. This is what he wrote. I work overnight security at a mall during Christmas. This year, the Santa display started remembering me. I took the job because nothing ever happens overnight at a mall. That's what they told me during orientation, anyway. Walk the halls, log the doors, drink bad coffee, go home. Easy money for December. What they didn't mention was how loud a mall gets when it's empty. At night, it never fully shuts down. Escalators sigh to themselves. Air vents click and rattle. And sometimes the ceiling speakers pop softly, like they're about to say something, and change their mind. The Christmas village sat in the center atrium. Fake snow, cardboard storefronts, a massive Santa throne bolted onto a red platform. During the day, it was chaos. At night, it felt like a stage after everyone left. My first 2 shifts were boring. I did my rounds, nodded at my reflection in dark storefront glass, and counted the minutes until sunrise. On the 3rd night, the Santa chair creaked, not loud, not sharp, just the slow flecks of wood. Under weight, I stopped walking. The display was empty, I knew that. I'd checked it less than half an hour earlier. Still, I stood there with my flashlight trained on the throne, waiting for something to move. Nothing did. I told myself it was temperature change. Old materials expanding. That happens. Even so, I logged it. Audible noise from Santa display. Likely structural. The next morning, the mall manager pulled me aside. He asked, very carefully, if I'd been touching the display overnight. I laughed. Told him no. He didn't laugh back. He showed me a photo taken by the cleaning crew. The Santa chair was angled differently, turned slightly to the left. Like whoever had been sitting there leaned forward before standing up. They blamed teenagers sneaking in after hours. I didn't argue. The 4th night, I smelled it before I heard anything. Salt, copper, mixed with that artificial pine scent they pump through the vents in December. I followed it, without really deciding to. The Santa display looked wrong immediately. The suit wasn't arranged anymore. It sagged inward, like it was hanging on invisible shoulders. The red fabric looked darker in places, damp. Then the beard moved, just slightly, with each breath. My flashlight shook so badly I had to lower it. "Hello," I said. The head turned towards me. There was no mask. Just a face pulled too tight, eyes red and glossy, tears sliding down into the beard. "I'm almost done," it said. The voice sounded tired, used up. I ran. I didn't stop until I was outside, gasping in the cold air. I didn't finish my shift. I didn't file a report. The next day, I checked the mall website. Santa Photo Experience, now open. I told myself it was stress, sleep deprivation. Then I saw the video. A mother filming her daughter on Santa's lap. The suit looked brand new, the beard pristine. "Smile," Santa said. The girl tilted her head. "Why are you crying?" The camera zoomed in. Tears soaked the beard. And clipped to Santa's belt, half hidden in the red fabric, was my security badge. Still active. I've worked seasonal jobs most of my adult life. Warehouses, retail stockrooms, overnight shifts. Anything that paid a little more during December. 2 years ago, I took a temporary job as a night clerk for a shipping centre on the outskirts of town. It handled overflow packages during the holidays, lost items, late deliveries, things people never came back for. The building was massive, but at night It felt hollow. Rows of shelves disappeared into the dark. Conveyor belts sat motionless. Christmas music played quietly over old speakers, looping the same 10 songs until they lost all meaning. I worked alone. My job was simple: log incoming packages, scan barcodes, move anything unclaimed into long-term storage. Most of it was junk, broken toys, clothes returned too late, mislabeled boxes. But a week before Christmas, a package showed up with no return address. That wasn't unusual by itself. What stood out was the tag. Instead of a barcode, it had a handwritten label taped to the top, to be opened on December 25. I assumed it was a mistake. Someone trying to be clever. I scanned it anyway. Nothing came up. I logged it as unregistered and placed it on a shelf with the others. I forgot about it until the next night. I found it sitting on my desk. I knew I hadn't moved it. At first, I thought maybe the day shift had flagged it for review, but there was no note, no paperwork, just the box resting neatly beside my clipboard. It was light, lighter than it should have been. I carried it back to storage and set it on a higher shelf, somewhere I'd notice if it moved again. The next night, it was back, same spot, same orientation. The tape on the label hadn't been disturbed. That's when I noticed something else. The handwriting had changed. The words were the same, but the letters looked tighter, more deliberate, like someone had traced over them. Slowly. I told myself it was stress. 12-hour shifts will do that to you. I logged the incident and kept working. The following night, the music stopped. I didn't notice right away. It took a few minutes before the silence felt wrong. The speakers usually cut out randomly, but never all at once. I was standing near my desk when I heard a sound behind me. Paper. Sliding. I turned around. The box was open. The tape had been peeled back carefully, folded over itself, like someone didn't want to tear it. Inside was a smaller box, wrapped in red paper. A bow sat perfectly centered on top. I didn't touch it. I closed the outer box, retaped it, and shoved it back onto the shelf harder than necessary. My hands were shaking, and I didn't know why. The next morning, my supervisor asked if everything was okay. He said I'd been talking to myself on the cameras. I laughed it off, blamed the music looping all night. He didn't push it. Christmas Eve was my last shift. The building was quieter than usual. No deliveries, no new packages, just me and the shelves. The box was gone, not on my desk, not in storage, not anywhere I checked. I tried to convince myself I was relieved. Around 2:30 a.m, the conveyor belt started moving. Slowly. I stood frozen, watching the rubber surface crawl forward. There were no packages on it. The emergency stop hadn't been touched. The control panel lights flickered, then went steady. Something appeared at the far end of the belt. The box. It slid towards me inch by inch. When it reached the edge, it tipped gently onto the floor. It didn't hit hard. It sounded careful. The label was gone. In its place was a gift tag tied with twine. From you to you. I didn't open it. I walked out. I left my badge on the desk and didn't look back. On Christmas morning, I woke up to a package at my front door. No return address. Wrapped in red paper. Inside was my work uniform, folded neatly. My badge sat on top. Underneath it was a printed photo. It showed the shipping centre floor from above. The conveyor belt was running, and standing beside it, facing the camera, was me. The timestamp read December 25th, 2:31 AM.